Tom, you guys have had some moving parts this year in the lineup. You've had some guys that have wrestled well early and maybe struggled a little bit late. You've had some guys that have gone the other way and put it together. What is it going to take to get all 10 guys firing the way they're capable this weekend?
Well, I hope that the training has played a role, right? Because training definitely is a differentiation between the volume that we do early on and the way we hopefully peak people. I don't think so much the mentality changed, but I think that when you have people that are as good as the people that we have, they've been winning for a long time, they're successful, they train hard, they care. Normally, those people wrestle well when the stakes are the highest, right? So just some of it is just nothing about coaching necessarily. It's just internally the people you have, right? Well, last year at this time, we were nearly perfect, right, to win the Big Tens. There were 5 matches that we looked at before the weekend and said, hey, if we're going to have a chance of beating Penn State, we have to win these matches. We won all 5. So, and to win, at this level, the margin of error is so small. To win all 5, where you're an underdog in several of them, that's a really good weekend. And we had that weekend here, and we didn't have as good of a weekend. We didn't have a bad weekend in NCAAs, but we didn't have the perfect weekend. And when the margin of error is really small, and you've got teams like, Penn State, Michigan, and Iowa, and you're off a little, and you could find yourself in 4th, right? So we just need to be the best us this weekend. I believe that if we're the best us, it'll show. At the end of the day, we'll have more points than everybody else. I don't think we need anything miraculous. I think we just need to be tough and gritty, and be excited to score points, and just be what you would expect anyone that's put their life into something be for the 7 minutes they're out there. Each time you got to be there. So it doesn't seem like it would be so difficult to do that, right? Just show the love for what you have, but we're humans, and stress and anxiety and things get into our head, and sometimes they trickle in our performance. So we just want to see a great team effort this weekend.
Do you feel like you have more margin for error this year, that you don't have to be perfect, you don't have to pull off 5 matches, that maybe you're underdogs in a bunch of them?
I think so. I think a little more. And I think that Penn State has shrunk that margin of error. I think early on we felt that we probably had a little more than we do now. 97's become an interesting weight. We felt like, Colin early on was based on his season last year, his Junior World Tournament. So he's been dinged up a little bit this year, hasn't been as healthy as he was the year before, last year. 41, getting Joey, we felt really good. Well, they're wrestling really well there too, right? So, when you're an elite level program like they are, you're going to fill holes extremely well, right? You can recruit like they can recruit. So, there's not much room for error right now, between these two teams, between Penn State and us, and Michigan's really good too. They could squeak in there. They wrestled us really tough at home. I think the one thing that probably for us is, I'm not saying it's an advantage, but we have really good leadership. Kyle, Bo, and Nate, these seniors, they're really good leaders, and I think that when things are really tight, good leadership can maybe get you over the hump. So we'll see. We'll know in about, 72 hours.
What were initial conversations and thoughts like with Kyle after the match with Adam Kuhn?
Yeah, Kyle seeks truth. He's a truth seeker and a truth follower. I think that's Kyle Snyder. And the truth is that he wasn't necessarily looking forward to wrestling Kuhn as much as he was wrestling at the Eureka. Right, so you come back from Eureka, and again, there's no excuse. Kuhn wrestled a great match. He got the takedown. We didn't. We had a couple chances, didn't get it. But he's over at Eureka. He's a 40 hours of flight over 5 days. Even Snyder man, right? Even the toughest human being can not be at his best. And I don't think that we were. And that's nothing against Kuhn, because he's going to wrestle 2 more times. But I think that he's excited now. He's definitely more excited than he was. And we know this. It presents a lot of opportunities. Wrestling a guy that's 65 pounds more than you. that knows how to pummel and can back you up. So bottom line is Kyle's looking forward to it. He wants to end his college career and help his team. He stayed to help his team the last 2 years, and we're hoping that the hope's not a plan, so we're not hoping. We just can't wait to see these matches go down. It's going to be a lot of great wrestling.
Do you feel like Colin has gotten some of those things worked out that he battled here in the last month?
He's really, he was extremely consistent, right? As a freshman, he only lost to Cox and Farr, and he had beaten Farr and almost beat Cox, right? This year he's had a couple of where you kind of shake your head, and nothing against those opponents. They were both, really good opponents, but he just needs, and he also was an unknown last year, right? So hey, you're scouted more. They know what you're they know what you're bringing to the table. They're going to try to shut you down. They're going to do some things differently that you didn't face last year. And your job is to figure out the solution to some of the different things they're throwing at you. So we'll see this weekend if he's able to do that.
I got in here late on the conversation. You guys talking about potential dual scoring changes, ideas there?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think we should put a committee together, right? I think we should put a committee together of people that really understand the value that we have to place on the consumer. That without in any way, shape, or form, reducing the integrity and the pureness of the sport, we need to think about the consumer more. And how long should a wrestling match be? And should it be 7 minutes? And how long do we want dual meets to last? And when should a tech fall be a tech fall? And some things that would simplify scoring. I feel like we continue to add rules, but it doesn't necessarily change the sport at all. So stalling, I remember watching stalling in wrestling in 1985, 86, that went to the NCAA tournament. I never thought for a second anyone was stalling. Stalling calls weren't quite what they are now. A good group that's willing to make some changes and move the sport forward. I'd be all in favor of being on that committee.
What do you think about cumulative scoring in dual meets, something like that?
Yeah, I think white slate, and let's go at it. Let's really think about what would be really good. Let's do it. Let's put a questionnaire out there at the fan base. Let's do some real research and get some data on what fans would like to see. And you're going to see some stuff way outside and stuff way on each spectrum, but what can we really do to help the sport grow?
What's your outside the box idea? Your top outside the box idea?
The main thing I would say, I don't want to. I think tech. So this isn't too far outside the box. Like I don't really think way outside the box, but I think 15 for a tech fall is far too many points for a tech. 10 to 12 points. So I would change the point scoring of what an individual gets for each match. I would make a tech less. So that's one. I would change dual meet scoring. I would probably go from 7 minutes to 6 minutes. If we're stalling in 7 and we're not trying hard, well, let's make it 6, and just so try to shorten the length of a dual meet to begin with. I guess those are two just basic things that I think are realistic that would add value.
What about the edge?
I would change the
action
edge rule for sure.
Yeah.
I would change the edge rule. It's too subjective. I think what we've done with officials right now is we've added. When you put rules in subjective areas, the more rules you insert in a subjective area, the more chance you have of someone feeling they've been cheated. It's unfair because you're putting a rule on something that you should just leave alone. And I think that there's too many rules on the edge. Who pushed who out? It's too hard for the athlete. Did I push him? Did I not push him? Is that pushing too hard? Is it not pushing too hard? So I think that needs to be adjusted. I think stalling needs to be reconsidered. We've seen a lot of matches where the guy that scored all the points got hit for stalling, and it shouldn't be. In a lot of sports, if you get up big, why can't you use your defense? To me, let's put some value in a good defense too. There's a lot of rules that I think we've tried to insert ourselves into a fight, and sometimes just let the fight happen might be the better option.